how does an idea about a superhero with a girl end up becoming a globe-trotting adventure series? Arriving towards the end of the 90s action boom, it turned Tia Carrere into a female Indiana Jones that became one of the top syndicated shows. So how did this series make it through chaos, major changes, and a final season that pushed its star to the limit? Let's find out. This is the history of Relic Hunter. In the late 90s, writer Gil Grantand, known for shows like The Hardy Boys and 8 Is Enough, joined forces with producer Jay Firestone to develop a new syndicated action series around Tia Carrere, with her playing a weather girl by day and a superhero by night. Tia later said she liked the superhero idea, but once the producers mentioned a female Indiana Jones, everything changed. She was a huge fan of Indy and said she always wanted to be Harrison Ford. So Grant took the show in a new direction and created Relic Hunter. The story would now focus on Sydney Fox, an American history professor who preferred hunting lost icons and rare treasures rather than spending her life inside a classroom. The weekly format would open in the past, where a relic was used, stolen, hidden or lost, and then the story would move to the present, where Sydney and her British assistant would follow the trail through historical clues, puzzles, traps, and whatever greedy bastard reached to it first.
Trust me.
It's the Relic Hunter game. Relic Hunter, now Tuesday days on CKB.
With the idea fully shaped, the producers needed a blonde bloke with a slight build who would follow Tia into the field, someone who looked like a younger Hugh Grant. Christien Anholt's manager saw what the suits were after and sent him to LA to meet them. They liked him, so they brought him back 3 times, and 2 of those meetings were with Tia. According to her, they could grab him by the ear, throw him across a room, or use him as a human shield, and the main thing, the chemistry was there from the start, so Anholt got the role. From there, the reoccurring cast started filling out. Lindy Booth came in as Claudia, the student secretary, while Tony Rosato appeared as rival Relic Hunter Stewie Harper. Louis Mandylor also came in as CIA agent Derek Lloyd. Simon MacCorkindale, best known for his brief stint as Jonathan Chase on Manimal, later joined as Fabrice De Viega, the man who killed Sydney's mentor when she was a child. After the 2nd season, Lindy Booth left the series, with Tanja Reichert coming in as Karen Petruski, the new assistant at Trinity College. But more on that later.
She's a martial arts expert.
I think you got me there.
She's a natural-born hunter.
With the main cast in place, Donald Kwan handled the score. He already leaned towards fantasy and science fiction, and he saw the show as more fantasy than anything else. He also believed television music had to stay simple, because people were watching at home and doing other things, so the score had to hit the mood quickly and move on. Relic Hunter premiered in September 99, and by the end of that year, it landed among the top 10 new syndicated shows. Christien Anholt said viewers were fairly enthusiastic, with plenty of interest, and the series looked set for a healthy run. On the other hand, some critics had to have their usual moan. The LA Times called it a belated Indiana Jones knockoff, and said it quickly fell into formulaic fluff and fistcuffs. The Los Angeles Weekly, though, was a bit kinder. It called Carrere a proper pulp heroine and treated the whole thing like shameless B-movie television. Behind the scenes, the show became a heavy Toronto shoot. During the first season, the crew spent 2-3 days a week in the studio and the rest filming in and around Toronto. The St. George campus at the University of Toronto stood in for Trinity College, with Victoria College and the Soldiers Tower appearing across the show. Then the production moved to France for a few episodes. That block included Love Letter, where Christien Anholt worked with his father Tony for the only time in the series. It also became his favourite episode and one of the last things his father filmed before he passed away. By season 3, filming had spread into Spain and the UK, with British production company Farrier Limited joining as co-producer. London, Toronto, Paris, Seville and Bristol then doubled for various locations around the world. For Carrere, the fights brought their own problems. She did do plenty of her own martial arts, and during a hotel fight, she was put opposite an actor who was 6'4" and weighed around 240 pounds. He missed her face with a planned strike, but his elbow caught her hard across the nose. She stopped, checked that nothing was broken or bleeding, and carried on filming. Then came the shoes problem. Tia said her heels kept sinking into the grass while filming, so she had to work through the choreography while trying not to fall over. She asked for flatter shoes more than once, but the suits upstairs weren't having it because heels and boots look sexier on screen. The sets brought their own trouble. A scene inside a sarcophagus left Carrere claustrophobic, so the crew removed one of the panels to give her more room. Another episode had her tied to a chair with snakes crawling around the floor. Then 2 of those snakes went missing around the soundstage, and the crew spent most of the day trying to find them. The cold weather was even worse. Carrere said the hardest shoots were the early morning fights in Paris, where she had to warm up properly to avoid injury. The physical risks continued as well. While filming an episode in Seville, Anholt landed badly during a stunt and put his bottom teeth through his lip, leaving him with a nasty scar. Then, after season 2, the producers decided to take the show in a different direction and told Lindy Booth that her character Claudia not be returning for the 3rd season. That departure though changed the chemistry between the leads, and season 3 never felt the same. By the time the show reached its 3rd season, the ratings had dropped and syndicated action shows were struggling. By the time the season ended, no renewal deal had been made, so the final episode aired in May 2002 without a proper ending. The fans were still waiting for news later that month, but by July, the show was officially listed as being binned. Carrere later said she was physically exhausted after 3 seasons and wanted to get married and start a family. She also said that 9/11 had affected the final season, while the departure of Lindy Booth had changed the group dynamic. Looking back though, Carrere thought Relic Hunter could have lasted another 2 seasons even with the lower ratings. After the show ended, Warner Home Video kept the show alive on DVD. That started with season 1 when it was released in 2005. Then Madman Entertainment released season 2 in 2006, with season 3 following in 2010. Alliance Home Entertainment also released all 3 seasons on DVD that same year. Now the full series was finally kind of released on Blu-ray in 2021, but it wasn't a proper Blu-ray. It was episodes that were upscaled to 720p. Now for fans who want to add the series to their collection, I've added a link in the description below, and there should also be a card popping up on screen to help you check it out. Beyond the home media side, the show never became the franchise fans wanted. When it ended, viewers kept asking for a 4th season or a movie that could give Sydney and Nigel a proper ending. Christien Anholt said he would have come back for either one. But no sequel, no movie or spin-off ever got made. The show also stayed alive through repeats around the world, including later reruns on Heroes and Icons in the United States. By the streaming era, all 3 seasons have showed up on various platforms, keeping the show in circulation for a new generation of viewers. So years later, Relic Hunter is still remembered as a proper bit of late 90s syndicated adventure, with Tia Carrere battling rival hunters every week. As for my own take on it, I watched this show as a kid growing up in Cyprus, and I remember really enjoying it. But making this video was the first time I had gone back to it in God knows how many years. And watching it again, it brought back a lot of memories and a great sense of nostalgia for simpler times. Now as a show, it's alright. Tia Carrere obviously makes the show very easy to watch because she's absolutely gorgeous. But it isn't just about looking at her. The series is actually fun. You can call it an Indiana Jones ripoff if you want to, because it does steer in that direction. It had the same adventure feel, the chemistry between the leads was good, and of course it had some martial arts. And as I've said in other videos of mine, anything involving martial arts usually pulls me in. So overall, it's a good blast from the past. It's not some masterpiece, but it's a decent, fun adventure that I definitely enjoyed revisiting to make this video. And we're not done yet. Next time, we take a look at another classic series. Until then, why don't you check out our previous video on the adventures of Sinbad. Thanks for watching, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.